Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment of the Ghost Comms podcast. Today we have a second place grand finalist in the most recent FNCS. We have PL Cooper. Cooper,
Yo.
thanks for being on, man.
Thank you for
Of
being
course,
on, brother.
anytime.
So, just get the formalities out of the way. Where did you grow up? How was gaming a part of that? And then what got you into Fortnite and competitive and all that?
I've lived in the same natural area my whole life in Texas. It's right outside of Austin, a place called Round Rock, Texas. I've lived here since I was fucking born. How can I explain this? I got into gaming from my father. My dad used to play a lot of League of Legends and all these other games. And growing up, it was kind of like a big thing. I liked watching him and I looked up to him, so I gave it a shot. I think I was maybe like 9 when I first started. I think when I first started playing video games, and he got me like a PS4 or a 3. And I don't really remember what it was, but that's how that all happened.
Dude, I think, bro, a lot of the people we've had on, bro, a lot of them have gotten it from their dad, which is really surprising. Because I did not get it from my dad, bro. That's not how it worked out for
I didn't
me.
really either. I mean, I was just talking with someone about this, like how that is a commonality of like, I mean, like we talked to Fox, and Fox was like, yeah, he stuck a controller in my hand at like 3 years old. For me, like gaming was like a very, it was, I actually didn't realize how much it was a part of my life, but it was a part of my life, but it was kind of like a side thing while I was doing like all the stuff I was doing growing up, like sports and all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I realized that it kind of set the foundation for me, like having, even like a GameCube and a Wii, like growing up and just like playing different games or playing Halo at like other people's houses, like after Boy Scouts, like how that set the foundation for my passion for esports and the competitive nature of like what I do today.
Right.
So yeah, it was just really interesting too. I did notice that as well, that like it's a lot of like generational passed down. I think especially with the younger people, like I feel like it's weird because even though, Cooper, you and I are like 5 years apart, like it's almost like there's a generational gap there. Like there's a very distinct difference between like people your age and people my age. And I think that just came like there was a distinct time in the technological revolution where like you were growing up with a lot more of that stuff than I was in those key years, 9 to 13 to 14, like whatever.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like the advancements kind of started like.
Exactly. Like when I was in middle school, the first iPhone had like barely come out, versus like kids nowadays, or even like you, like, when you were in middle school, that would have been a more mainstay, like a staple, and technology moves so fast. It feels like it's moved 20, 30 years in the time I've been alive, even though it's been,
Cooper, how old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
Damn. So, wait, like a 2006 type of kid?
7. I just turned.
2007. God.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
I'm saying, yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
That is actually insane. Okay, so that's where you started gaming. Your dad was kind of the start of where you started gaming.
Right.
Was there a specific game you played to start?
So this might be actually, I kind of, about that dad thing, that was kind of when I was just around like 9 to like 11, but before that I had a 3DS and I fucking loved Pokemon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Pokemon. That just clicked in my head when you were talking about the generational things. I was thinking about like the older consoles. I played a lot of 3DS. I had like red, blue, gold, all of it.
Pokemon was big on DS, bro.
I loved
so
it.
big on DS.
Dude, Pokemon was banned in my school. Pokemon was banned. Like the game and the cards were banned in my
same
school.
With me. Like,
yeah.
Even in middle school, cards were still popular.
Bro,
but
I'm a bunch over here. Hold on. A bunch over here.
Bro, I had a huge collection. I don't have mine anymore.
Yeah, a couple of my buddies have gotten back into that recently. They're like opening packs, trying to resell. Yeah, it's super interesting.
Bro, reselling on eBay is so bad now for some reason. Like,
I don't know.
I thought these are rare. Bro,
I think it's like a form of gambling for them. Ooh, we should talk about that. Hold on.
Bro,
we should talk
bro,
about
I opened
gambling.
a bunch on stream, and they're just like the good ones are just sitting in there, bro. And I actually love these, bro.
Yeah, I mean, bro.
They're so
addicting. They are, but they cost a lot, bro.
They cost a lot, bro.
$5. There was what, 7 cards.
Yeah.
$6.
Dude, I was at Walmart the other day, bro. Those massive packs, like the ones
that like $80, right?
Dude, they're like $80. I'm like, dog,
crazy, bro.
And you know what? Kids actually convince their parents to buy it, and I'm like, dog, there's no way.
Like,
there's no way.
And they just keep milking it for money too. Like they're on the. I remember when the EX thing first came out, and I don't even know what it GX XXY. I don't even know what it is on now. Like, the shit like
It's on like
they've just taken it.
Next thing.
What the fuck? Like you just said like a foreign language to me. I don't know like what that. Yeah, but
Right.
I
Bro,
don't know. Anyway,
there is something else. No, Pokemon
okay.
Trading Cards was
So
like
Pokemon.
childhood.
That's really interesting. So how man? I'm trying to do the math, but how old are you when Fort came out? Like, and when did you hop
11
on?
10 or 11.
Yeah,
Good
11, I'd
God.
assume.
That like
And
makes me feel so ancient, bro. Okay.
yeah. All my friends at school played, and
Mm,
I just
Yo.
kind of got on the bus a little late. I'd say I started just about season 3,
Mm,
I think, of the first chapter, which is like
okay.
it's like a pretty like neutral ground. I think
Would
like
you?
most people started 2 or 4, but
So
yeah.
since Fort came out, or since when you've been playing since season 3, did you play like all the way through those 5 years, like
as in
straight
like
to
as in like just to
like
play the game or
consistently?
like competitively.
Yeah, no, just to play the game at least.
Give or take. I don't know if y'all are into Minecraft. I played a lot of
Oh yeah,
HCF.
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah,
big
yeah,
on
yeah.
HCF. I played
Dude,
so I
oh.
sorry, go on.
No, go, continue.
So during I think like season X, it was the season with brutes, like the joints that would like
Yeah.
everyone was
Yep.
fucking hating.
Yep. Season X.
Quit the game for like half a year and just
Mm,
played HCF all day, every day.
mm.
Bro, I hated HCF. I can't even lie.
I was addicted,
hated
bro.
it.
I was on like the top. I was on the top frack. Like I played every
It's
day.
so that HCF is so 50-50 with the community. It's either you hate it or you love it. I just
Right.
couldn't. I couldn't be like that, bro. I cannot spend time on HCF like that, bro. I spent all my time on UHC
Right.
every day.
Yeah, UHC was fun too because it's more like a like everyone has a chance like survival, but
It was like the
HCF
competitive version. It was the
right,
competitive version of
because
MC.
HCF like everything goes on and adds up and you save like. But if
Yeah.
you're new to HCF, you're fucked. Like everything is so much different.
Yeah, it's horrid now, bro. UHC is so much more intense now. I've been playing like these hosted ones just for fun on stream, bro.
Right.
Bro. Kids spent like the last 8 years or 6 years, whenever the game died out, just grinding on the same version, 1.7, grinding for 6 years straight. And I try to go back. They're so like they're doing things that I didn't even think existed. Like people didn't do. It's like they take the craziest risks and it works out. I don't even
Taking
know,
a break from Fort feels the same way. Like
Yeah.
I quit for like 5-6 months and I came back and I've almost like quit again like permanently because I just couldn't like you just can't keep up. I mean I people ask me all the time like on stream or something like, oh, you know, I feel like taking a break or I feel like quitting, but I don't know if I'm gonna want to come back or not. And I'm like,
Right.
if you're competitive and you're trying to stay competitive, good luck, because if you take more than a 2-week break, people are gonna be miles ahead of you. Like this game moves so quickly, the meta develops so quickly, mechanics are always developing because building and editing is like something that will never really be fully mastered. I don't think
The skill gap will keep it increasing.
right, because there will always be more things that are possible, especially as they keep adding like movement. I mean, you know, like we're supposed to get hurtling, which was supposed to be released with chapter 4, and then they just kind of took it out and have not done anything with it. But then like mantling
dude,
and sprinting added, and then like we're supposed to get wall running sometime this chapter or next chapter, which is just like a terrifying thought.
Dude,
like
wall running would be crazy and like brutal or something. Like that would be the most crazy thing I'd do.
Or like imagine the fucking like retakes where you can like fucking build walls for yourself and then wall run and sprint jump and I don't know, like the shit that's gonna be possible, and that already is still possible. Like we're still pushing the boundaries of it all the time because they're the most advanced and complex mechanics we've ever seen in a shooter or anything
that
ever.
would be like the Raider 464 type of thing.
Yeah, like exactly. Yeah. Or like remember like early chapter 2 when everyone kind of hated like the base game and we just went on this like creative spree of just like the most outrageous like the TikTok retakes.
Yes,
yeah,
bro.
like remember like where people are just doing this stuff where they were like, you know, they would throw a cone like 3 layers above and edit the 2 tiles and like catch it like
building.
Yeah,
dude, what was that? What was that kid's name? Razor X. That's his name.
Yeah, like the, like just the weird like I mean it was almost like performance art of like these like this mechanical stuff that you could do like in creative. Like it wasn't practical at all, but it was like just like pushing the boundaries of what you could do. And I feel like we're gonna continue to see that. Like people are doing stuff now that we never would have thought of years ago. Like so, but anyway, so you talked about you kind of quit during season X, which is an understandable choice. When did you get back into like were you already playing competitive at that point, and if not, when did you get into competitive where you like actually were like, okay, I want to try and make something out of a competitive career in this game?
Right. So just around season X, I think that's when I like just turned like 13 years old, so I was eligible for tournaments or whatnot.
Yep.
I wasn't much of a comp player for ages. Like I'm like for a long time. I loved creative. I was a zone war kid. I played wagers all day. I slaved my life away on that. But just started playing competitive in like the 6th season of Chapter 2, give or take. It's around that area.
Primal season.
Wow.
And and then 2 seasons after that, my first earnings, I won a solo cash cup. That was my first earnings, was winning one of the cash cups. And then ever since, I think I hold the world record for earned in a row, because after I got my first earned, I made 8 in a row right after.
Jeez.
I got top 10 8 times in a row. So like that's kind of, I mean, coming from wagers, I feel like the thing about solos is that it all kind of comes naturally in comparison to like, let's say like duos, right? Because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a completely different thing, but I'm just kind of going off the topic at that point. But that's when I started playing, is season 6 of Chapter 2.
So and there's a debate, I think, in the community, because I've had this conversation multiple times, whether like creative is helpful for the game or not. And I think, because I think there's a debate between whether mastering your mechanics and fighting is harder, or whether mastering the mental side, the IGL type stuff, and understanding the theory of the game is harder. And it sounds like, from what you were saying, that it was kind of easier for you to get into, especially solos, and just learn the theory of the game, because your mechanics were solid. I mean, you were grinding, like those Zone Wars kids. And I've said this for years. The top Zone Wars players are eons further than anyone else in terms of fighting. They understand piece control. They understand peaks and angles and map conservation better than even some pro players, because that's all they do all day, every day, is just get into a round of Zone Wars, and they just fight with these things at play all the time. They get more repetitions, and there's less to worry about. I mean, they don't have to worry about rotating or dead side or any of that stuff.
They just worry about fighting.
Right. So I mean, they're like, you watch these guys, like an Andy or any of those names that are known in that scene, like they know fighting more than anything else. And really, if you dedicate the time, a month or two, you can probably get to a point where, if you have that good of fighting mechanics, especially, you can learn good enough to qual to a finals of an FNCS or something in it. Like, if you're really putting in the time to learn the theory of the game. I mean, you take it like G Money. G Money just started competing. He was a big Zone Wars guy, and all of a sudden he's already made a name for himself, and he's being seen in FNCS because he just learned the theory of the game super quickly. But I guess my question for you, Cooper, would be like, would you agree? Which one would you think is the harder task, to master, like fighting and mechanics, or to master like the theory of the game?
This is a really rough question, because obviously the season that I just did well with Marrow, it was my first season IGLing ever.
Yeah.
So it kind of right. So it kind of be like weird to say that I think fighting is harder to learn. But I generally think that, like, over the years I've been playing, like, I've never peaked at my mechanics level. And that's what's so good about this game, is that, like, no matter what level you are on the game, you could always get better. And that's because in comparison to all these other battle royales, there's shooting, and there's movements, but there's no building. And building has billions of variants in comparison to, like, all these other games.
Right.
Which is what makes it so interesting, right?
Yeah.
So I think on the question, I think fighting and mechanics definitely is more challenging to master alone.
Yeah.
Because it takes years of just adding on. And but as an IGL, or like game sense of the game, that also takes time. They both come with experience, and I think they're equally as challenging. But nonetheless, I think any, like, let's say like a tier 1 fragger could become an IGL in 2 seasons. Like,
you think?
Like, you also have to think, 100%, million percent. If they just put, because I mean, I obviously put a lot of work in. Like, I VODed hours on end, and I learned. Like, think about it. Those mechanics, you can't just do that in 2 months. You need years, right?
Right.
Well, because a lot of kids also end up switching their binds. Like, dude, there's kids that switch their binds.
I did that too.
I've never done it.
I mean, people. Okay, on that topic about optimal binds, I think it's really important. I have some of, like, the best binds in the game. I was like, because so the whole, I'm trying to explain this in better words, but the whole reason of optimal binds is that you have these 3 fingers on your movement at all time, right? So W, A, D. So that leads to, like, your pinky and your thumb, like completely free movement, right? Without taking your fingers off the movement keys. I suck at explaining this. I've tried to explain it so many times. So the best thing to have your binds on is your thumb, your pinky, and your mouse button, right? Because your fingers don't move off movement keys. So kid you not, my edit is on my thumb, my builds are on my thumb, everything's on my, like, pinky or thumb. And that's why I have such good movement and good mechanics. I think optimal binds are important.
So I approached the same thing when I started keyboard and mouse. So I played controller through Chapter 2, Season 1-ish. And then the transition, and I was like, I felt like I had reached my peak on controller. I was like, I can't I can't do what I want to be doing. I have reached my mechanical peak. I'm going to switch the keyboard. When I did so, optimal binds was a big thing, and I thought about that a lot, and I theory crafted. And to exactly what you're talking about, you dedicate 3 fingers to movement on a typical keyboard playstyle. You have your middle finger and then your ring and your pointer finger. The problem that I saw arise, because you have to move those fingers off if you want to build with the same fingers, because these 3 are your most dexterous. They're the fastest. They're the most flexible. They're going to be able to spam keys the quickest. And in Fortnite, that's extremely important. If you're in a build fight, you know that those editing and those builds and those whatnot are coming really quickly. So what I did to get around the same problem that you're talking about was I moved everything over 1, but that was just preference. So I was using ESDF instead of WASD. But what I did was I used Z for move left and B for move right with my pinky and my thumb. So then my ring and my pointer were free to do all of my build binds, my weapon binds, all of that. So that got around the same problem in a more No, I play on the
trying to figure it out.
I play on the joystick now.
On my keyboard trying it. That shit is fucking whack.
I play I play on the joystick now, like the Aussie Antics Martos joystick.
I'm just fucking with you.
I agree.
But no, it was another way to get around that same issue, because it's like,
oh yeah, it helps.
It's a game that's so unique because it has way more equally important imperative binds than any other game. Like, because you're not only most games you have 2 weapons and your movement, and then maybe like grenades and maybe an ability or 2, or like some kind of utility. It's like that's you have just with your inventory slots, you already have 5 right there, like that you need to be taken care of. So then you add 4 builds, and then you add movement, and then you add editing. It's like, that there's way too many binds, and I think that's why things like the Azeron have become more popular, like the Thanos Gauntlet, whatever, like, because it's trying to address this issue of like there's just aren't enough buttons that you can hit optimally. But yeah, that's super interesting. I don't even remember why we got on the topic of optimal binds.
No,
but
I mean, to be fair, no, he's fair. No, it's fine, bro. You guys think my binds are so weird, and I've kept these for like
you use the F keys. You're weird.
First of all,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That face of disgust is appropriate.
And I have better mechanics than you on F keys. Let's just get that straight. Second,
we've never 1v1. Right.
And I will murder you in game in a 1v1. 100%. But no, bro, I use F keys first of all. Q, F2, F3, Z as builds, right? He's like looking, and then also, dude, this is like I swear this is a genetics thing, because I've asked my cousins, they do the same thing. Some of them do the same thing. Bro, most people, like when you're holding on your keyboard, you're using pinky for shift, correct? Like in any game.
You use your ring finger, don't you? You fucking.
No, I use my thumb.
Oh no! I hit Z with my thumb too. I actually that's fair. I hit Z with my thumb and everything on the bottom.
Dude.
But shift is like I don't see
Dude,
myself.
I hit shift and then like think about if I have to hit space bar. I'm
literally
switching between the 2.
Tuck the.
Yeah.
Dude.
Hold on. This is how it looks, bro. Hold on. It's if I'm holding it like this. Okay, bro. If I'm holding it like this, my shift, if I'm gonna hit anything, it's like this.
Oh hell no.
I do like here, look. I do the same thing with like Z, like here, but I don't go all the way to the fucking.
No, that's whack.
No, like
that's whack.
Dude, it's so, bro. I do that in every game in Minecraft as well.
So anyway, as we wrap this bind conversation up, Resub just did a whole thing where I tested this as well, of like having one finger be both left and right, because you aren't ever hitting them at the same time. So what he did was, like, you have your WASD, basically you make A and like Q left and right, so that frees up your pointer finger to do all of your builds or whatnot.
Wait, A and Q as in like left and right, like direction movement?
Right. Yeah.
That's terrible.
What?
It's weird to get used to, because it doesn't like.
Because don't people move their key, like their WSD, they make it like YGHJ? Like
like I use ESDF. Yeah. Like that was, and I do that in every game now. Like because I just prefer my pinky resting on shift or on Z instead of shift. I just like hitting shift just feels weird, but I don't know. I'm old and weird.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
Anyway, I don't even remember why we got onto this.
Dude, optimal binds, bro. No, it's fair, bro. There are a lot of kids that switch up their binds like really often as well. Yeah. Like, it's interesting.
So we were talking about like which one's easier to learn, and you learned to be an IGL in what, like 2 months?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, 2 months.
yeah. So, obviously, like competitive. So you got your first earnings. You got 8 earnings in a row. And this was what, like late chapter 2. So
Yeah,
you
very
really
late.
got in. You got in like at the what most people consider to be the peak of competitive. Like that run at the end of chapter 2, season 7 with the alien season, and then season 8, the cube season was like peak.
Hmm.
Um, so what was that? What was your comp journey kind of like? Um, in that sense, like going forward from there, like when was your first like FNCS qualifier, things of that nature?
I'm gonna go on my Fortnite tracker because
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
no
now
problem.
my shit, now my screen's
That's smart. Yeah, that's fair.
let me go do that real quick. So right after those cash cups, the season after that was the new chapter 3.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Let me go check. Sorry, I'm really bad at
No,
remembering
No,
no,
you're
no,
names.
chilling.
bro.
No
Let's go
pressure.
look.
Dude, bro.
Wow,
What's it
this is
called?
long.
If
Okay.
you've been play, bro, I feel like I've seen your name on leaderboards. Then, if you were playing since chapter 2, season 6, because that's when I started watching. So if you were placing for cash outs to get money, there's just no way I didn't see your name.
Okay, so
I probably did.
all right, so right after all those solo cash cups, and I did like pretty, I mean, solid. I got like 2,000 earned in that moment. Like that was like my first earnings.
Yep.
Um, good Nani picked me up.
Mm.
Good guy
Uh,
Nani. So
yeah.
that's who I made my first grands with. My first good teammate ever. He picked me up after noticing that I did like
That's where I remembered you from, bro. That the
he,
name was so. I
Yeah.
remembered it from
Yeah, I
somewhere,
remember
I don't know
bro.
if
Nani.
y'all saw that clip, like when we won the rebound game, he started twerking on his chair.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
That one, that's
That,
remembered.
yeah,
That's what I'm
that
known
was
Yeah.
for.
chapter 3,
Yeah.
correct?
That
Yeah.
was chapter 3, season 1, and
Mm-hmm.
me and Nani played 2 seasons.
Mm.
Yeah.
We made grands in one. We got 30th. We only made 2 grand. It was pretty shit. And then the season after that, I took a break here. I played with Magnolia,
Mm.
and
Oh, yeah.
we did bad.
Does
We didn't like make it out of opens, and that I took another break. My competitive, like, what's the word?
competitive journey
Fucking that works journey. I was thinking of timeline, but as in it's
timeline?
like
Okay.
it's very like I have a very love and hate relationship for this game. It's like bipolar, if you will.
Yep.
The
Mm.
way I think about this game is so like because I love performing and I love competing, and the second I do bad, like on a consistent time frame, like I could do bad and get over it, but like I'm talking like 2 months of like bad placements, I fucking hate myself. Like it's
Mm.
bad. Like I genuinely get upset with like how
Yeah.
I'm doing, and I stop playing,
Yeah.
and I take that break, right, and I come back a lot better like than I was
Mm.
originally. I think that helps a lot of people. Like I think mental breaks in anything in life
Mm.
and just all around, like just pushing back from things and working on your like health and like diet, lifestyle, everything,
Mm.
it impacts a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
On
and
a
Aussie
competitive
has talked
standpoint.
about this a lot too, because so many kids come to him about like
Because he
I
used
like I
to,
hate the
yeah,
game, I want to quit, like whatnot, and it's like then
because he used
just
to be a
do it.
personal trainer. He used
Yeah,
to
yeah,
also be a personal trainer for.
Yeah,
yeah. But
He
like
was
years.
a
massive,
lot of
bro. Like he
kids,
was big,
I
bro.
think what the phenomenon is that a lot of kids, this is the first game that they've ever been competitive in, that they've ever devoted their life to, their time to,
At a
and
young age, right? So
it's like
13.
the first love type thing, you know? It's like
Yeah.
you're so afraid of giving it up because it's the first one that you've known, and like so many kids are just holding on to that even though they hate the game and they hate getting on it every day and they hate playing, and they're just like it's like tormenting them, like because they
Yeah.
just are afraid to let it go, and that's a very common like thing, especially for kids that young. um so it is.
Yeah.
It's like go take a break, and if you want to come back, then come back. Like the game will always be here. But I remember like I was in Aussie's chat one day, and I think it was like a watch party for something, you know, and some kid was like, Aussie, like I hate getting on the game every day. I hate grinding. What do I do? And Aussie's like, what do you mean? What do you do? Like if you hate the game and you
I
hate
was there
yourself
for
when you
this.
play it,
I remember
just
this
don't
happening.
play. Like there's a very simple solution in front of you. Just don't
Yeah.
play. And
Yep.
like kids, but the kids are so like scared of letting go of that thing because it's been so important to them, and it's kind of like this is a moving on type thing that they need to learn, and like it's a good life lesson too. It's like, yeah, when it's not working anymore, or, you know, it's okay to let go. Like,
Dude, the same thing goes for pros, bro. Like you see pros,
yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah.
people that quit and come back a week later. I mean,
I think that's
one,
more understandable from
yeah,
the
I was
sense
gonna
of like
say,
Yeah, I quit and
if
came
it's your
back 2 days
career,
later.
2 days.
yeah,
So
2 days.
from what I heard, it was like close relation problems or something. But I mean, if you know anything about it,
I do.
okay. Is it something you shouldn't talk about, or is it something you should talk about?
I can give like the vast idea, but it was more of like a mental. I mean, like from what I know, I think it was more of like a like a real
Mental
life
health issue.
problem,
Okay.
and that
Got it.
and yeah, in that range.
Yeah.
And you know, he just, I mean, I'm sure he felt down. Just he wanted to take a break from the game. You know, he already made his he made his money, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it did his
I
job.
think he was in a comfortable position if he wanted to take a break,
Mhm.
but he made it sound like he was done, like quitting. I'm done.
Yeah.
Like
No, I mean,
everyone,
because he a
go on.
lot, bro. No, no,
Right.
no. Because when you see a tier one like Mero say he's quitting, everyone's gonna think it as, yo, this is the end. No one's gonna be.
No tier one could quit. I don't know how to explain this in words, but no tier one that's making this much of a great progressive income and has so much love for the game, they can't quit. Like they'll say they will, and then give it a month at most, and they come back and they love it. I mean, this game is like addictive. It's great because
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it in words, but you're always doing something and you're always making money. Like there's no
Yeah.
like, it's just so easy. And like
Mm.
the thing about Marrow is that like obviously like me in comparison to him is fucking night and day. Like he played with me. Like he came into this season like not caring.
Yeah.
And the way we started playing was like, I mean, it was interesting. I'm sure the coin flip and shit, but nonetheless, I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, he came in not caring much after quitting, but like he still loves the game and he still has fun. I actually don't even
Yeah.
remember. I'm getting off topic so much. What was the
No,
question?
it's fine.
No, because that
Go
was literally
wherever
my
you want
next
to
question.
go.
My next question was literally if he knows why Mero decided to quit and then came back to play
I
with
see.
him.
Okay,
So,
yeah, that then I think that was
so
the answer.
correct me if I'm wrong. You and Mero were friends before.
No, never talked to him in
No,
my life
never
ever.
talked to him. So then, what was the connection at end up doing? Because I'd assume Mero, if he's coming back, he's
You
gonna
just
probably play
DM'd
with
him.
someone that he's either
Right.
played with before or like all that.
So he played, you know, Crisp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do know
Mero is
Chris.
great friends with Chris. Known him for years on end.
Mhm.
And they got second in a duo cash cup this season because once again Mero was playing with, you know, friends and like Phils because he didn't care. Like he just wanted to help people out,
Right.
kind of. He was originally gonna play FNCS with Crisp, from what I believe. But day before FNCS, he DMs me on Twitter asking if I'm like the next Cold, and like all these questions and all this stupid shit. I've explained this before.
Yeah.
I explained it better in the interview with Pipeline.
He sent you a
Mhm.
clip of like
You know,
Cole
like
doing
his
an edit course
mechanics,
and was like,
and he
if you
asked
can
if I
do
could
this, I'll do it
My
with
voice
you.
was
Like,
squeaky and all this other shit.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it all came down to a coin flip, and
Yeah.
whatever, all that.
that's crazy.
And that's how we started playing, and that's I still don't talk to him to this day. I don't talk to him outside the game at all. We
Mm.
just play tournaments, but pretty
Um,
interesting.
Dude,
so
that's crazy.
so
Because
before we kind of talk about your guys' like, because obviously there wasn't much like preparation in the sense of like you two as a duo. I mean, you guys were playing, you were playing with Captor, you were running a lot of scrims with him, and all that, and which is
Yeah.
awesome. But I kind of want to talk about Mero as like a phenomenon because I remember it might have been late chapter 2. I remember watching a Grands, where it was his solo clutches. It was like 2 specific games.
chapter
It-
2, season 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where
I
where
remember
he
this.
just
Where
like,
they won.
yeah.
They in
I mean,
reverse
he's
won.
got that clutch factor.
That was the season reverse talk shit about everybody
Yes,
and then
that's-
ended
yep.
up winning on everybody.
Remember
Yep.
that clip he posted? That was like,
Double
I want to
champ, the double
apologize to
champ.
nobody. Yes. That was
Yeah.
the greatest
The
thing
double
ever.
champ
bro.
doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
bro, that thing is
Apologize to
so.
fucking nobody. That shit was
But-
He
great.
doesn't apologize to nobody.
Right.
It's
So
Conor McGregor.
obviously Mero kind of breaks onto the scene there, makes a name for himself, is known for that clutch factor and that performance. Plays with Booga, wins a couple more times. So I this is something that I've been really interested in. Do you see if like Booga rubbing off on Mero, like in the way he plays and the way, like, do you feel like it was like Booga was a big part of what made Mero such a capable player today?
This is a hard. I don't know how to answer this question at all. I mean, he definitely got better by playing with Booga.
sure.
Shit, I don't know how to answer that. Like,
It's like
Booga-
more natural. Like it's more natural for him.
Right? Yeah. So like, obviously, he's won 5 different fucking times. Like, he's a fragger. He's great.
Mhm.
So I feel like he's one of the players that doesn't need to necessarily prepare. Same goes for Booga. I'm sure he didn't do shit with threats either, like preparation wise. He just plays and he does great.
Yeah.
And that's how like the top of the top people are. They don't prepare. They just they play. They do their thing. They make their money and they get off.
Would you say that it's because they've been playing for so long. Like they know the
Right.
fundamentals of the game and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that. And even if the meta switches, like they know like how to naturally play it, and they'll
I mean, like
naturally learn it without a coach.
Booga's been
Mhm.
scrimming since like season 1. Like I mean,
Well, that's what I'm
and
saying. Like he
the
knows the
Zen guys, like
fundamentals.
yeah, he understands. A lot of times these top guys, they're setting the meta. Like they're the ones that are like, this is how you play given these items or these zones or whatever. Like they are kind of the ones who lay the foundation that everyone else then kind of has to learn down the chain, you know, and
Right.
those some of those secrets are gate kept or whatever. Like, you know, like there are a lot of T1 things. Like I remember like a small example. It was like the alternative build bind when people were trying to take
Mm.
walls, and I remember like that got leaked, and like pros have been using this for like seasons on end, and like the casual or the like anyone who wasn't a T1 had no clue, but it was like, you know, like it was like binding shift or whatever to build. And so then when you're like holding a wall, it's not only your click bind but also your shift bind that's like trying to get, to win the 50-50 in like the taking a wall. And that
Oh
was like a
yeah,
small
yeah, yeah.
example of like when that got leaked, everyone was like, oh my gosh, and like pros have been using this forever, it makes so much sense. Like I think there's a lot of knowledge that's kind of kept at the top because it's originated from there. I mean, these are the people that understand the game and put the most time into understanding it, you
Yep.
know, so they're going to have like a higher likelihood to discover these types of secrets and whatnot.
I mean, speaking about like skill level and like natural to being good at this game, especially at tier 1 stage. Why do you like this is a good question that I've seen a lot on Twitter because this is what people use to fight NA Central against EU or NA with EU is why is NA Central a lot closer than EU when it comes to leaderboards? Like we literally saw it with
Mm.
this FNCS if you want to put it in comparison. This FNCS, NA Central was all separated. Top 3 was separated by you guys were separated from Boo or whoever won. Who won again this season?
Oh, Edgy and Duke.
Edgy
Fuck.
and
Yeah.
Dudes. You guys are separated. You guys are really close going into the last game, correct? Or somewhat close?
Yeah. I think it was like
Yeah.
20 points off.
Yeah, right. And even back in chapter 3, season 3, there was the half elimination first and second, and then one elimination from first and third. Like, why do you believe NA Central is a lot closer in standings and all that? And it's more, honestly, it's more exciting to watch because you know in EU, someone's dominating over there. We just
Right.
Queasy and Vito
Queasy
win
and Vino
half
had
the-
won by like game 9 or
day
10
one, like, after
statistically.
day one,
Like,
they just won grands.
Yeah.
literally,
yeah.
literally. They won their games and they won half of the tournament.
I mean,
So-
Vino was doing fucking mini games by the end of it. I mean, he
Yeah.
literally he was like,
was
yeah,
trying to
I'm just gonna
get
try
most
and get to the
damage.
top of Kinch's like Grand's damage analytics. Like
He started
he's going
streaming,
for a leaderboard that is based on statistics, not an actual leaderboard, because he was
Yeah,
that
he already-
bored winning grand finals. I mean, I think there are two possible explanations for that question, and I think it's either it's funny because you can make an argument that are opposite. Either you say that NA isn't as good, so they're all like in the same relative, like, you know, it's just a matter of like who pops off or who is the most consistent in that grands. Or you could say it's because NA has more talent and they're all pretty close to equal. So it's like whoever just, you know, rises above the rest of that kind of average talentness. But like, what's your perspective on that, Cooper?
I think it's a rough question because I think the thing about set lobbies is that they're entirely unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yep. Contested, surge, anything can go wrong, and you could
Yep.
die, and it'll put you behind the leaderboard by 60
Yep.
points. But nonetheless, about the topic about why each regions are separated, I think each season EU always has a team that dominates. Like, kid you not, like this season or last season it was like Vino and Queasy. The one before it was like Murstache and Tayson, right?
Yeah.
Like they just won everything coming up into the grands, and they seem to be so much more ahead in comparison to everybody else. And I feel like EU has that major, or has that factor every season almost. That from what I can remember. But nonetheless, I think NA's teams as well, the same teams stay consistent. Like, like Buga's always going to be in the top 10. Mario's going to be in the top 10. Who else? I'm trying to put my finger on someone.
Like a Rise, Iamsu, yeah.
Yep. All these teams are consistent teams.
Yeah.
And they place, like they'll break the top 10, like no ifs, ands, or buts, it'll just happen. But I think that the differentiate, I don't know how to fucking word this shit. I think the difference between EU and NA, right. I mean, I was right. Between both the leaderboards is the fact that there's one main team that dominates by a lot of points.
Okay.
I don't know how to
Um,
word it better, but
Yeah,
So,
no.
well,
So
and part of that too, like you kind of talked about, a set lobby is so unpredictable, and I think there's a specific thing with grands, the grands format. Day 1 and day 2 are like different tournaments. Like
so
they
much different, bro.
something can play out. You can win 6 out of 6 off spawn on day 1, and then all of a sudden, like, everything changes. Either you're not contested anymore, so you aren't getting surge, or like, so many things can change because people's game plans change. I mean, I remember Chubbs was 4th or 5th going into day 2, because we were doing like a PL viewing party, and day 2 was just a completely different story. They started losing to Paver and Shadow off spawn. We didn't understand why. Like, something had changed, and it was just a minute detail that that changed the entire outcome, and they ended up lower on the leaderboard than he was on day 1. And
Yeah.
it's like it plays out like a completely different tournament. So there is something. I mean, maybe there's an argument to be made about preparation. Like Queasy
No,
Vino.
there's a reasoning, like between. Sorry to cut you off, but both
Yeah, go.
days there's a big reasoning why they're different every time. So,
Mhm.
for instance, NA is after EU, and NA learns from EU, and this, I promise,
Yeah,
this goes
yeah,
for every team.
Mm.
Every NA team watches EU grands, every one of them on my life, every single. I'm one of them too. I watch my Discord banner is fucking Tayson. I watch Tayson every day.
Yeah.
I literally watched all of his tournaments, all of his grands, all of his everything, right? So I learned from him, and that makes people play like an EU team day 1, but day 2 is a completely different story because same thing that goes with the replay modes. People watch back and they learn,
Yeah.
and every team that made day 2 grands that are in the top 20 are watching over the day 1 games.
Yeah.
So they learn paths, they learn process of repetition. They learn everything from all the teams around them, and they plan their gameplay off of that exact movement.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But for instance, all the other teams are thinking the same way, and they're like, okay, this team's doing this, so I'm gonna do that. So everything gets mixed up and everything gets changed. It's a different tournament. It's entirely different.
Right.
Like, going into day 2, I mean, my off spawn situation was different because I'm not contested. Like, everything's kind of easy for me, especially with with Surge. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I don't know. Surge wasn't a problem. We played well on Surge, and everything was just easy. But I'm talking for teams like Chubbs, for instance, which fucking amazing team. But going into day 2, like Paper and Shadow learned, they voted off spawn, they got better, and they played better day 2.
Right.
But yeah, it's replay mode is a big difference in a lot of tournaments.
That was, I mean, even because I went to Invitational, and everyone, like, after day 1 was like, "Oh yeah, we know who the winners are going to be." I'm like, "No, you don't." Like, it's going to be a completely different tournament tomorrow.
And it wasn't it? Wasn't it like
there was a huge turnaround, like the leaderboard, like
weren't Iamza and Rise below? Were they below top 10 or just in top 10?
not even? I think they were like 19th, and they got like
Exactly,
first
and
day 2.
they
and
got
Acorn and
first day
Cold
too.
were projected to win, like,
And
by
they
a
were-
landslide, and
they
they
did
didn't.
bad.
They weren't even
They did
top
bad
10,
this
I
year.
don't think.
No, they
were,
got 8th, but like that's not Acorn. Like Acorn's
Yeah,
winning.
yeah.
Like that's
Right.
Acorn.
Acorn's
Like
winning. Acorn's
Yeah.
winning.
Acorn should be fucking.
no, it
he's
is.
great.
It is.
Dude, it's a
like,
whole different tournament.
whoever is most capable of downloading information and making proper adjustments in
Exactly.
that downtime between day 1 and day 2 is going to have a
Right.
much. I mean, was it Rising the Amso had like a 300+ point day
More.
on day 2? Yeah, and
It was
like
380.
I mean, they were they were 200-ish, I believe, after day 1, and then they got 150 more points on day 2, something like that.
Because they
know.
were getting contested off
340
spawn,
point
right?
day 2.
Yeah,
They were.
so they
were, right?
almost
'Cause-
doubled their day 1, like,
Yeah.
on day 2,
Well,
just
yeah.
from adjustments that they made, and that's kind of, that is one of the biggest measures of a Fortnite pro that I don't hear about a lot, is adjustment. An update comes out the week of FNCS every single season that changes something major. Like, you had the ODM change this season. Like, being able to adjust and have backups to your backups on your game plans is part of that preparation, but it's part of that just like game IQ. And I don't hear it talked about a lot. You just hear, this guy's so mechanical. Okay, who gives a shit? Do you have a backup surge route? Do you have a backup loop path? Do you have it's like, do you have are you prepared for any, like, plug in this situation? Oh, we're getting contested now. Do you have a plan for that? It's like, and like, honestly, there are some pros who are just lazy with it, or there are, like, people that are lazy with it, and especially people who are like tier 3, tier 2 that are trying to break into that tier 1 scene. I don't think they understand the type of preparation that takes, because they just go, oh yeah, I have a drop map. Okay, well, you have a drop map, but do you have do you have like, you know, a plan, a loot path for if you're contested on the north side of your POI? Do you have a, you know, do you have a loot path for, or do you have a surge path if you're, you know, if these people leave, or if you don't have a contestant here, or like, you know, any of these,
Right.
plug in
totally
any
agree.
variable. Yeah.
Yep.
But I think that's super underrated when we talk about a grands of like, yeah. And I'll always say that in between day 1 and day 2, we'll see who does the most vodding and does the most preparation tonight. You know, a lot of people won't get sleep or whatever, because they will just be downloading as much
I was up
information
till
as
3,
possible.
bro.
Yeah.
Up
I
till
remember you
3.
tweeted like really late that night of
I think I tweeted
like,
a picture
day
of Kobe.
1.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I was up
Um,
late
yeah.
with Captor.
Like-
Fucking love Captor. Love Captor.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Bro, I see him a lot, doing a lot in this scene.
He helps
so-
so much. For
So what did that night look like for you and Miro? I mean, obviously
The
don't.
fifth day one?
Yeah. Between day
Oh, no,
1
I
and
can-
day 2.
I could say everything. So day 1, we had a decent start. I think we had like a really shit game 1, and then like a fifth, third, like 10th, and then another shit game. In our last game, we had like a 13 kill win.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nonetheless, our first day, I sold really bad. I died out the air to Kwani and Peterbot on the other side of Slappy, and we would have won grands if I didn't, you know, die out there. Obviously, you can't really think about tournaments like that, because you could be like, this could have went right, this could have went right. I mean,
Right.
anything could have went right.
Right.
But nonetheless, we had a shit mentality going into last game, like the worst mentality, bro. I was so mad at myself, because this is my second grands, and playing with Meryl, I kind of knew this was make or break for me. It's like, if I do shit with Meryl, nobody's gonna play with me, because, you know, Meryl carried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these things going through my head, it was
Right.
just like it was hard for me, bro. But
Yeah.
going into, nonetheless, what was the topic? We were talking about grants. Okay,
Like
going into
what
last
did
game.
in between day 1 and day 2 look like for you? Yeah.
Okay. Last game of grands, we popped off and we did well,
Yeah.
and I was really happy with that. That changed my mood up entirely. I was like, we finished like 5th. I think we had an 130 point last game. Like we doubled our points last game. So I was like, it was a good
Yeah.
way to fucking end it, like amazing way. And I was
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
that's good. We got 5th day 1. We're like sitting in a comfortable spot. Like I'm gonna work harder than everyone else.
Mm.
And I did. I swear on my mother's life, I was up vodding for hours on end.
I
And
believe it.
I watched every team around us.
Mm.
I learned
Mm.
everything.
What place were
Yeah.
you after day 1?
5th. And then we got 3rd day 2, and overall
Yeah.
that was 2nd.
Mhm.
Yeah. The day in between day 1 and day 2, this is actually one of the only times Mero was like vodded with me, kind of like most of the other times he's just chilling. But the in between those days, like me, Mero, and Captor, I mean, it's more important. Like it's grands matters the most. So I mean, Mero joined the call. He went over our game plan, did all these other things, and I was nervous, bro. I couldn't sleep that. Like I didn't have the best sleep that night.
Right.
I mean, everything was on my head because, as I said, I had a lot of things in my mind about make or break. You know, all these other
Yep.
things. Especially for how, like, it's gonna sound like so stupid, but for how young I am, like it was like a lot of weight on my shoulders because I care about this a lot, and this could have changed everything.
No,
Which it did. I mean, 2nd is amazing.
Yeah.
happy
Well, I
with
mean, it did. It put your name on the map. I mean, even our interview that we did
I
for
did
the
well.
PL channel is popping off. I mean, your name is in algorithm very much so right now. Like, you know, you search your name on YouTube, you're gonna find a collection of videos.
I mean,
and
dude,
related
it put you on
content.
it put you on algorithm, but it put you on Copenhagen.
Yeah.
You're in
Copenhagen,
Copenhagen.
man.
Wait,
Copenhagen, man.
before we get to that, because I kind of want to talk about like that limbo that you were kind of fearing, because there's a very real thing, because this game does it, like you can change teammates every tournament, every season, what have you. Like there is this like spot that people get into where it's like, okay, if you have a bad tournament or a bad season, you can't get as good of a teammate, so then you don't place as well, so then you don't get good teammates, so then you don't place well, and there's this cycle that decent or good
Domino
players
effects.
get into, where you just can't ever get out, because unless somebody like takes a massive chance on you, you know, or like people can vouch for you or whatnot, like, and so I've seen that happen, and I've seen this pit happen. Especially, I think it happens more right under the tier 1 level. You talk about tier 2, tier 3s, where it's like if they did get to play with a Miro, they could be tier 1. Like if they just had that
Exactly.
one tournament, or they had that one grands where they popped off, all of a sudden their name would be everywhere. But it's just that one chance, it's that one risk, and this happens in content creation too. Like getting
one
a collaboration with the right streamer, you know, having the right like raid or whatever can be that one thing where it's like the talent was there. Everything that you needed in terms of what you could prepare for was there. And then it just takes that one tiny stroke of luck. And I guess part of the lesson there too is do all the preparation, do all the work,
And something will come to you.
so that when that opportunity comes, you can actually make something of it. But I just think that's a really interesting like thing that I've seen specifically in Fort, because even like Apex, you have teams representing orgs. Like you're on a roster, for FaZe, for example, and you have a FaZe trio competing. We don't have that in Fort. Partly because of org support, but it's just because like the nature of a battle royale. Like you don't have, you could have two different orgs competing on the same, like you have one of the top teams. You have Flu, Baka, and PL Pars. So you have two different orgs being represented there. Like that's it. And even we signed DeRoller and Vert together for PL, and now they're not a duo anymore. So we signed them as a duo, and they're not. But like it's a very real fear, I think, if you're trying to make a career out of competitive, to be like, oh man, if I get stuck in like teammate limbo where I don't have good teammates and I don't place well, so I don't get good teammates, and like it's a very hard thing to get out of. So I understand like kind of that pressure, and I just wanted to touch on that phenomenon a little bit. But yeah, like going into, so you ended up doing well. You got to play with Miro on a coin toss, which is like a crazy. I mean,
crazy.
That is such a Fortnite feeling thing to me. Like, yeah, I'm gonna like guess which one I'm gonna, which side of the coin, and then like yeah. Literally decided your whole potentially career. I mean, not like
career. That's right.
Not like you weren't, it's like, and like I'm saying, like that's kind of your stroke of luck. Like you were prepared, you had done all the work, you put in the time with your mechanics and whatever, but it was that stroke of luck, that opportunity that came by that actually got you to where you are now, which includes Copenhagen. So, top 3 NA, qualify to Copenhagen. You're going to go to the land at the end of the year. You're going to take your dad. Are you already preparing for that? Kind of what are your thoughts? Like, is this something like what kind of just how do you feel about that whole opportunity, getting to qualify for what is the closest thing we've had to a World Cup in a long time?
It's amazing, man. I'm beyond excited to be a part of it, and I'm very happy to bring my dad along. My dad, fucking huge supporter in my game. I mean, he's helped fund more than half my setup. He was standing right here while I played Grands almost half the games. I kid you not. He's been watching me all my life on the game, and he's been watching streams. He's been supporting me. I love my dad more than anything. He's my biggest supporter for sure. But on the topic of Copenhagen, I'm beyond excited to compete. And I mean, yeah, I'm so excited to meet everyone. And I just I don't even know how to. I can't put it in words. I mean, it's gonna be an amazing experience.
The LAN environment, even as a viewer, because I went to Invitational and I went to DreamHack Atlanta, and they're very different, but there is a commonality. Like,
sorry, you went to Atlanta?
I did, yeah.
Damn, I'm trying.
I wasn't like, I'm very much unknown, and I was very, very much unknown then. Like, I met Bronos at Invitational, ran into him again at Atlanta. That was how he was the first guest on on this podcast. That was how I got onto PL. Like, that kind of, in the same way, made my career. Like, going and networking with a few people kind of made me.
Right.
But yeah, no, like even just as a viewer, Invitational was, I love the word electric because it's just like there's like this like palpable like feeling of like community between everyone. Like it's like everyone that you saw, you were excited to see as if they were a lifelong friend. I felt like I could have gone to anyone and like talked to them for 10 minutes and they wouldn't have been like everyone there. I was just like, yeah, this is like a family. Like we're all here for the same thing. Like it's such a great atmosphere. And the pros who went to Invitational, who were like in the back, stuff, staying at the same hotel and in the player only areas, amazing, like they talk about that, like it's life changing for them. And it's very much, and I think this is something like, yes, we're all competing. You're all trying to do well for yourselves. But in those moments where competition isn't happening, that is like you're bonding with these people who have similar goals, similar passions. Like that's where the community aspect of gaming is. And I think that's one of the things that makes it the most beautiful. I mean, even NBA, you don't really have that, or NFL, or it's like there's some camaraderie, but like I think there's something so special about like when they're off camera, like Mr. Savage did a vlog. You talked like they were playing ping pong with like bowls and pans and like all that stuff. Like they're just dudes being dudes. They're teenagers hanging out as if they're all friends, because they are. As soon as the cameras are off or as soon as the game is down, like they are all friends. And I think that's a beautiful aspect of it. So hopefully, you get to experience something like that and really make some lifelong friendships that go beyond this game or your careers or anything like that. So
dude, you're still young, bro.
Yeah,
you're still
you
young
are.
as hell. Like
Very
16,
so.
You're going to Copenhagen, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's a life-changing experience, like, and I hope it really does become that for you. So you've never traveled internationally, right? That's
Nope.
awesome.
I mean, I went on a cruise.
Yeah.
But,
Like,
that's not
yeah.
traveling.
Meh.
Yeah, I've never flew to. I mean, it's
Yeah,
So
yeah.
completely new.
you played at Atlanta though, so you have some
did.
experience at land, but this is going to be like you're on a stage. There's going to be a media day. You're
I'm
going
worried
to
for
have
that walk-on
cameras.
shit, bro. You know what I'm talking about when you like walk
Yeah,
on
yeah.
yeah. When they
Uh,
call you
She's gonna
well,
kill me, bro.
I've told you this since our PL interview. You interview really well. I thought you had
Yeah.
had media training. Like you do a really good job on camera, and I think that people will take to that. I think the people who stick out, like you take an N Pen. N Pen's just such a natural. Like that guy should have a camera on him at all times because he just
funny.
he fucking lives in
so
it.
funny.
Like yeah, like he's such a natural. He commands a
Him and
camera
Polar
so
are
well.
hilarious. Him and
Like,
Polar are hilarious.
Yeah.
They're meant
No,
for each other. Not like
Oh,
in a
God.
gay way, but like you
Eh,
get
No,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
yeah, no. So I mean, but I really do. I think because we've talked about this so much, and we bring this up as an example every time. But you take a Clicks who took his competitive career, he took his skill, he took all of his talent. He imbued his own personality, and that's what people have latched onto. That has
Right.
built the Clicks empire that he has. I mean,
Yep.
if it wasn't for all of the extra stuff beyond the game, I mean, if he just had the mechanics that he did, and he just played, and he just kind of streamed every now and then, like most T1s do, he wouldn't be anywhere close to where he is.
Not even, yeah, right.
So I think
No idea.
that's something that you're just naturally going to do better than a lot of pros because a lot of them aren't comfortable on a camera. They aren't comfortable taking interviews. I mean, watching Kelly Link try and interview some of those guys in between games or what have you is a painful experience for me because they have like I wish that people did more media training for one, like these T1s because you have like
How do you
NBA,
media
NFL.
train? Sorry, how does that work?
Basically, you get people that come in that tell you kind of things that like it's just like, have you ever taken like a public speaking class like that tell you kind of how to better public speak? Well, it's kind of the same thing. Like, so like, you take a Disney child actor, they give them media training. So it's how do you do an interview? How do you respond to questions? What things do you say? What things do you not say? How do you word things? So it's like, if I were answering like, let's say I qualified the grants and I got like 50th, my media training answer for, somebody asking what happened, why did you play so low? But yeah, we put a lot of preparation and time into this. This is my passion. We just didn't get the result that we wanted to. We're gonna hit the VODs. We're gonna do the work with the coaches. I'm gonna keep working on my mechanics. We're gonna play
I
scrims.
see.
It's like it's
So
just
it's like the
how
most optimal answer, right? And they
yeah,
prepare the
exactly.
questions? I see.
It's how do you make yourself the most presentable? How do you make people like you, regardless of your answer?
You're not gonna dive deep into like that. It's like a 10-second answer, 15-second
Right.
answer at
Right.
most.
And
Yeah,
it's answering the question, but it's kind of avoiding it too. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
for that example I gave, it's like we got 50th, that was ass, but like that's not the answer I'm going to give. It's
Right.
we didn't get the result we
Yeah.
wanted. We're going to do this to fix it. You hear like coaches do this really well in most sports. They have really good media answers. They're concise to the point. They give the exact they don't defame the company. They don't defame themselves. They don't give answers that people are gonna like the media is gonna latch on because that's what the media is looking for is things that they can latch onto
Yep.
and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
we have an angle that we can attack now for So that's what I mean by media training is like that's what I thought you had because you give answers as if you've had training for that. Like you just you answer and other guys like they would let a word slip or they would give an answer that's like too in depth or whatever. So anyway,
I mean, dude, the one that strikes my mind is Kanata, bro. Kanata on that
Kanata's so funny.
broadcast. That was so
But
funny.
he did it with
bro.
tact, though. Like he
he's doing
actually
it on
interviewed
purpose.
well, but it was very funny the way he went about it because it was so professional sounding.
Dude,
but
we
he's
got
like,
the race
yeah,
track,
racetrack is on con. Like he could have ended there, but he was like, nah, racetrack is on con because you guys banned clicks. So yeah, like and he knows part of that was he knew the broadcast couldn't say anything about it. They have blacklisted phrases, words, topics that they cannot talk about. It's in their contract. I mean, Aussie has talked about that a little bit. You just have things that you can't say. I mean, it's your job. This is like if you say this thing, we can fire you. We can kick you off the broadcast and lose X amount of your money.
Yeah. We saw it blatantly with Aussie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the Aussie's whole
He
thing.
got his shit kicked off. Or what did he tell a kid that what did he say?
He called the kid a loser because
he called the kid the loser.
he conned first place in a tournament and ended up
OC. I saw
griefing
that.
his whole griefed his
Like
whole
one of
tournament.
his close
Griefed
friends.
his first place too. It wasn't like just a
Yeah.
money or a
Lord,
qual.
I
It
would've
was
said that too.
yeah. Well, and he stood by it. That was his opinion, and that's the thing with a multi-billion-dollar company. they don't like opinions. You know, they like things that are going to make the most money and appease the most people's minds. And that's so, you know, even with Epic, and we see that with Epic in a lot of things, that whole multi-billion-dollar corporation mentality, even in the development plan. I mean, I think that Ranked is a reflection of that very much so, because Ranked is just pubs with a rank on it. And like that is very clearly to me coming from a place of Epic is developing, you know, something that is appealing to the casuals. And that's not a terribly bad thing. I mean, getting casuals into competitive would fuel competitive, but I think it's a weird way to go about it by taking out Siphon and doing all the other, you know, having all the pub loot. I mean, like that spear, I hate that spear. It hits on both sides of a wall. How is that like you can't build to defend yourself. There's nothing you can do unless you have 2 layers in between you. Like that's not competitive to me. It's like that item supersedes, you know, what is like basic skill. Like, but anyway, so, but I see that development strategy, or, you know, in their reluctance in the past, especially, I think we're seeing a boost in competitive, which is good, and the attention to competitive, but, you know, they've never really made Fortnite the esport that it could be. I mean, if they tried to make it just an esport like a CSGO is nowadays, it would, in my head, easily be the biggest esport, bar none. Like there would be no competition. But
dude, org inclusion would be something else.
But they care too much.
Bro, like imagine like a skin, bro.
Yeah.
Like a skin with like a jersey. You feel me? Like
yeah.
Yeah.
That shit would be so cool, bro. Like imagine all the people.
100%.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
Or even like the superhero skins, like you could just get the org. You know how you can put like the stickers on it. You could put you could put the org logos. I mean, dude, on the superhero skin. There you go. That's something.
You know the whole party royale feature in the game right now, like that people watch FNCS on in the game. If they had org skins where you could buy it off the item shop, you would be able to see who, like, how many people represent, like how many people want to see this org win, how many people want to see these players win,
or even having like the org channels be broadcast as like secondary options. Like imagine in Party Royale, like you had, you had PL's channel, you had, you know, let's say Limit or Flu or any of the other orgs that are or Elite, you know, you have any other, like you could have all of the screens of the different broadcasts, you know, that are covering different things. Things as minor as that, but all of that to say, Epic cares more about money at the end of the day. There are people within Epic that care about competitive. You have a Hogman, you have, you know, Sundown when he was still with Fortnite, which he's not anymore, by the way. Like, I don't know how many people know that, but like Sundown is not associated. No, he's not.
You didn't know that?
He just kind of took a silent step away. Like people still add him and stuff on Twitter, and he's like, dude, I don't do this anymore.
Dude, I did that one time for one of my friends, and he responded to me and it was like, yo, bro, like I don't know how many times I have to say this, but like I'm not in that scene anymore. Stop adding me. I was like, oh shit, my fault.
But yeah, so we see this. The development strategy is from a place of we want as many people playing the casual game as possible so that we can push these collaboration skins to them and make a shitload of money.
Make a profit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And that's, it's unfortunate because it's like, you know, so, and that affects competitive. I mean, even the rank system right now, I think people are warming up to it. And I think the idea of having a rank system is a great thing. I think a lot of the stuff about how they executed it is really weird. But they'll
fix it up.
Yeah, it's not bad for a beta at all. I mean, bro, everyone's fucking playing every day.
Well, that is, it's like
a start. It's a good start.
It's like what, and part of that's what you talked about earlier with people are addicted. Like they know that
like the game is genuinely shit. Like ranked fucking blows dick, and I'm still playing every day. I'm still playing every day. I mean, I'm a moron.
It is. It's like we're addicted. Like they know who they have. They know that no matter how bad. I mean, you take Primal season. It took that bad of a meta for like a lot of the original T1s to even think about quitting. And a lot of them came back later. Like, and that was a god awful meta. I mean, having to find 7 parts to upgrade the shittiest shotgun that we've ever seen into something even remotely usable. Like
they changed the fundamentals of the game entirely.
Exactly. I mean,
you were farming half your game to get a stat. Dude. Bro, it was like H1Z1 and Minecraft in one.
I remember because I was coaching. So my part time is coaching like youth Fortnite, so I coach into like a youth league. And I remember trying to like help these guys create like very basic like loot paths, and trying to do that in season 6 because it was like, okay, well you need this ammo box and this ammo box and like to try and get parts and whatnot was the biggest pain that I've ever like. It added like a minute to every loot route, and I hated it. Like it was so terrible. But all that to say, we didn't quit. Like most people did not quit during that time. It was a very small fraction of even like the T1s that were like, oh yeah, like this is my breaking point. I think they know who they have. They know who's going to quit. Most people end up quitting on their own volition in a decent or good season anyway. Like it really isn't dependent on the meta at all. And that's
also quarantine helped with that as well. It was still mid quarantine, right?
Yeah,
so, you know,
that's true.
Dude, it was something. Yo, quarantine was a massive part of this game, bro.
Dude, COVID. I mean, COVID will really be in history books because it changed everything about the world. I mean,
in the world,
undeniably,
but it influenced gaming. One of the most impacts on the world.
It accelerated
gaming ever, I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, my point of view is that it took esports and it accelerated it 10 years. I think that esports got 10 years, like 5 to 10 years faster than it would have before, 100%. And which is why we saw a crash so quickly right after its rise to fame.
You're telling me dudes like the Dream SMP, like the Minecraft stuff, you think that would have blown up as much as it did if it wasn't for quarantine?
No, dude, that shit is so
boring.
No.
Right.
Like, hell no. Everybody was into that lore for
and this whole industry. I mean, YouTube, Twitch, all of that became all of a sudden seen as viable careers by the world because who was making the most money during that time? Content creators, gamers. I mean,
streamers, all that shit.
The NFL isn't happening, the NBA isn't happening, but what is? Daily Fortnite streams, daily Minecraft. Like, esports was still happening because it can happen at home. It was very much like it shook the whole industry, the whole career. It accelerated it.
Can we think about it this way? Mongrel won season 4 grand finals with Tayson and what's his name, Mitro. And he was also streaming to 200K viewers. You know how much money he probably 200K he was streaming to the whole tournament. Do you know how much money he probably racked in?
Probably triple the prize pool of grands, bro. That's
Probably.
Well, we've talked about that a lot. Where a lot of times now, if you want to have a competitive career, there's more money in streaming. It like you get good placements so that you can 100%. Release a better video with a better thumbnail and a better clickbait title. You know, like second in grand finals sounds a lot better than 27th grand finals, and that's why it's almost like that's why you place. Like obviously, you know, competitive achievement is more for you, but in terms of your career, it's like you're getting these good placements so you can get org contracts, so you can get sponsorships, so you can get streams. You know, it's like that's where the money is. But yeah, no, COVID like. I think COVID accelerated esports to its peak and then also took it to its first crash, which every industry has. And it
I mean, everything kind of had that crash and rise.
For sure.
Gaming had its rise and its downfall, and on the other hand, companies had their rise after their downfall.
Right.
So it was a very different it's a very different.
Where there comes good, there comes bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And it went for everyone. But I think gaming took more of a negative impact because everything starts taking over. People need real jobs. People need to provide.
I think what it did is it showed the problems in the industry. I think it revealed like the dysfunctions or the things of that nature. Like the same thing I think with Twitch. Twitch was on the decline and COVID saved it, but then it also like as soon as we got bored of it because we had been inside for too long, we were like, holy shit, Twitch is a bad platform. Like it's it's really bad. The way they treat creators is really bad. The way they try and suck every cent out of you is really bad. And like we started realizing, I think what was unhealthy about competitive, the game, Twitch, like all of that just became super apparent because everyone has been playing for 8 hours a day for a year and a half now because we've all been stuck inside doing nothing else.
It's like being blindsided, bro. It was like being blindsided. COVID blindsided us, even though it was hella fun. Like COVID was hella fun gaming.
I think I liked it, bro. People say they hated it. I love that shit, bro.
I loved it, bro. I love gaming in COVID, bro. It was, of course, it wasn't the best on the mental health part, but afterwards, like when I figured out the balance, it was like, yo, I'll be fine, bro. Like I'll be all right.
Yeah.
You had that, like, you kind of had it was like a break, bro. It was like a
like COVID still exists. COVID still exists now. It's just now we're able to go out.
It was like a pause on life. I mean, it was a very weird. Like it didn't feel like time was real during that time to me. Bro. It didn't feel like life before didn't feel like that, and like even life now, like there was, I don't know when that ended exactly, but I will never feel the same way that I did during that COVID time. It was just a bit like it is one of the most unique things that's ever happened in human history, and we're living in modern history because of it, for sure. And it had effects on everyone and everything, including the kind of the downfall of esports. Like we saw the cracks in the esports industry. I mean, one of the biggest ones being orgs don't know how to make money. There is not really a profitable org business strategy out there right now. There are a few that are doing it very well. I mean, not really. Most orgs are bleeding money. So like Moist Critical, he has Moist Esports. I'm pretty sure he said that they are losing like $500K a year running Moist Esports.
I can see that.
How is that even possible though? An esports organization.
He has a massive YouTube following and he makes enough money to fund it himself, but he knows that he's bleeding money.
Well, right, but like how though? Like what is he using this money on? Like,
because they don't have enough way to make that money back. All the things that they're spending on paying their pro players, paying that, like, you know.
How many players do they have? Do you know? Sorry.
They have a Rocket League team. They have a Smash roster.
So it's like a roster organization, not like individual kind of.
No.
Yeah.
It's they're in a lot of games.
Okay, that makes sense. I was like, how are you using 500K with? I mean, I don't know why.
But part of that is like he's paying these people's livings. You know, like it's not just like
paying them
like it's not like a Fortnite org where like you're getting like $350 a month. This is like we're paying you enough to, you know, like actually make a living off of this and do a full-time job. So like he has an editing team and he has all these people. You know, people like he has an actual like it's an actual company. You know, but that's a big problem in esports, and this is why we saw esports orgs backing out of Fortnite specifically, because one of the only and biggest profitable things in esports is advertising. It's putting a sponsor on your jersey, putting it on your streams, you know, all of that stuff, and people weren't able to do that. You know, you had the TSM fiasco where, or like just, you know, Epic doesn't let you wear, you know, logos or brands on your jersey at like LANs and stuff.
I don't know what to think about that.
That is one of the biggest and only profitable things that esports orgs have. So you take that away, they are bleeding money. Every cent that they pay any of those pro players, they are losing that money. They are not getting any of it back.
As much as you could say it's making a positive to those individuals' lives because they are gaining money and they're gaining their brand.
But it doesn't mean anything if the org collapses in 6 months.
Yeah,
I mean, that exactly. You know, and that's like it's you have some short-term money. So if you're just looking to like hop on the train, make some money, and then hop to a better org or, you know, another industry or something, then great. But yeah, for the orgs that are actually trying to have mainstay, I mean, this is why I think Dignitas is doing something really, really well. They just got that exclusive Mike and Ike thing. By the way, Mike and Ike is not a Dignitas sponsor. It's a Dignitas Fortnite sponsor. It's specifically for Dignitas's Fortnite.
I did not know that.
It's an exclusive deal with just their Fortnite roster. And what Dignitas has done really well is Aussie is their main guy. Yes, they have Acorn. They have their, you know, unbelievable pro talent. But they signed that pro talent so that Aussie can watch them and say, hey, this is part of my org. Aussie is their key. The content is their key. Aussie has 75,000 viewers on him, eyes on him, you know, and Mike and Ike's all over the desk. He had that huge studio. Like, he's their key. And like, content is the only profitable thing.
You see how many boxes of Mike and Ike's there was sitting on the front of his desk? Bro. That was crazy.
You know, 50, that guy is very smart. Very great businessman. I've met him. Amazing. He's very smart with what he does.
So monetizing content is very much the way to go, and this I've talked about this with several org owners. The strategy of signing people is if you're signing a pure pro player who doesn't ever stream, doesn't ever do team content, any of that stuff, you are losing money. That's my perspective on it. Like 100%. if they're not doing anything, you're losing money, and that, like, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, some people are worth it. Like, for example, Cooper, you put out a YouTube video that's getting a lot of views. It's bringing Pipeline's name higher up. That's a good thing. That's money. Like, impressions are money in this industry. Views are money in this industry. Yep. Numbers are money. But there are pros who don't put out YouTube videos. They don't stream on Twitch. They don't do any of that stuff. They don't do team content. Like, they are just sitting there getting paid to play well, and that's it. Yeah. And the orgs are losing money on that. And that, like, so there aren't many profitable business practices in esports right now, and that's COVID, I think, brought that to light, is what I was getting at. Like, with all of that, is COVID really highlighted that, because esports was like on this meteoric rise. I mean, it was like 300% in 3 years or something. Like, the industry was valued over $1 billion, and then all of a sudden it's like no one is in it. There's no money in it, anything like that anymore. Like, I very much kept up. Like, in 2018 to 2019, esports rose by 110%. more than doubled its own value in a year. And it's actually still on the up in terms of the market, but there's a dip right now. By 2025, esports is projected to be like $1.8 billion, something around that. I did a whole presentation in one of my public speaking classes about like the profitability of esports and where it's going and stuff like that.
Dude,
but yeah, I mean,
I never
it's
thought
interesting.
about it that way, to be honest.
Yeah.
Never thought about it like that.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, okay, this is one thing. So we were talking about ranked Fortnite. Do you think that ranked Fortnite coming into the game is a big step for what could happen in Fortnite comp?
Yes.
It is.
Okay. So go ahead. No, go.
Oh, you got it.
No, honestly, I was just gonna.
I'm just playing. So one big thing about ranked.
You're funny as fuck.
One big thing about ranked is that, like, once again, same on the thing I said earlier. It's shit, and I'm playing it, and maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, nonetheless, I'm playing the game and I'm streaming it. There's no point in playing ranked if you're not streaming, and if you like that's just realistic. That's from my perspective.
True. No, it is true.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different take. I think that's completely right. I think there's no point in playing arena or like pubs without streaming. You're gaining nothing.
Yeah. Right.
And I think everyone's like this is the ranked game mode that it's a great thing to waste past time, and people are streaming and people are starting to enjoy streaming, which branches. It's a domino effect of results. Like everyone's everyone's gonna want to be climbing ranks, and everyone's gonna be streaming whilst doing it, and that's gonna make a fucking humongous difference on Fortnite's viewership, especially from somebody coming from an outside view, right? Like, oh, there's a new ranked mode, like maybe I should give it a shot, and they see it from Fortnite streams. I mean, this is just common sense when it comes to content creation, but nonetheless, I think ranked it's a big step.
And here's what ranked is done right is it's provided a means by which new players or people who have never played competitive to ease their way into it.
Right.
If you played arena before at 0 points, you could be facing Polarized with 100,000 points, and he would absolutely fucking shit on you.
Oh yeah.
It didn't make sense. They claim that they're division matchmaking or whatever. It never existed. I would hop on my first time of arena in a new season. I remember one season I was on vacation for the first week, so I got by. A week had gone by, so most people were already in champs that were going to be and all of that. All the arena grinders were at already 20,000 points, and I got home and I hopped on my first game, dead 0 points, and I ran into it was one of the arena grinders. I mean, it was 25,000 points, and I'm like, how can I get in a lobby with these people at 0 points? I'm fine. I'm gonna lose to those guys most of the time. I can actually kind of catch up with them, and I might be able to kill them 2 out of 10 times. But a brand new player or somebody who's never played comp, if they have that experience, I wouldn't keep playing. Why would I want to get shit on like that every single game? That's the most demotivating experience ever.
I mean, didn't you tweet something? Who did you fight in rank the other day? You, Jatmon.
I don't know. I fought a lot of big people, but I've been playing with Jack in Unreal.
No.
So
yeah, when you were playing with Jack, you guys killed someone. Bucky, wasn't it Bucky?
Oh yeah, Jack killed Bucky. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, what the dude.
Yeah.
I've been hard stuck platinum. I'm struggling.
Yeah, I've been carried by Jack. I'll fully.
See what I mean? Though, y'all wouldn't be talking about this if it was an arena. You know what I mean? Y'all are talking about ranks.
Yeah. No, but that's what I mean. It's if you get placed bronze, you're gonna be playing bronze players, and you'll get to actually progress as your skill progresses, and you won't be as terribly shit on. You'll be playing people of your caliber. That's exactly what a competitive. It's exactly why it works. You take a Valorant people have been bronze for a year and a half, and they still play because they're trying to get better.
And they put money in the game.
Exactly. And way more money than for it. Valorant is a fucking robbery. This
is such a robbery.
$70 for one knife? Are you serious? Anyway,
and people put it in there.
I think Valorant. I think great for them. It's a good business practice that they can get away with it. I think that is highway robbery. But anyway. But it is having a rank to grind for and having a progression system where it's relative to your skill level. So if you don't want to ever leave bronze and you don't ever want to get better, you can just keep playing in bronze, and you don't have to get better, and you can just keep playing in bronze and maybe win a game every now and then, and that's it. It is perfect for that. So yes, ranked has some issues in terms of some of the details, but the overall structure of having ranks versus just random ass points that don't really mean anything and nobody cares about, is a great thing. It's a great thing for competitive because what Epic and to be honest, that's why Epic took out Siphon too, is because they wanted to make pubs and competitive as similar as possible to make that transition easier for people. So do I think that was the way to go about it, was taking out Siphon? No, I would much rather them put Siphon in pubs, and then had that be the way that they transition. But I understand where they're coming from. I wouldn't have chosen that personally, but what it does is
it was a good decision, especially for a beta, because
right.
they might change it overall, but the pub players.
But things like the mat cap, mat cap is now 500 in pubs, and it's helping people if they want to get in. Yeah, so everything that's in ranked is the same. So
I see. That's good. That's really good. I did not know that.
It's the same exact rule set if you turn ranked on or off on that little clicker. And I think that's a great thing, because then people go, well, I just want a pub game. Maybe I want to try ranked for the first time. And all they have to do is hit that clicker, and all of a sudden now, because the psychology of playing ranked, like in any game, just having some goal to try and achieve, you will just grind it. Like it's just a human nature to want to okay, I want to reach, let's say you place bronze 2. I want to reach bronze 3. Then you hit bronze 3. Okay, well, I want to hit silver. You hit silver. Like that's like Valorant has keep people trapped in this for 2 or 3 years, and they maybe move up 2 ranks. I mean, some people literally have been iron the entire time the game has come out, and they still play it every day, hoping for that one time that they win their rank up and hit bronze. And like, so taking advantage of human psychology, which is what capitalists do best, is like, that is exactly what Fortnite needs to keep people playing. And then when they get invested in competitive, and 100,000 people are watching Aussie on some random cash cup or something, and viewership gets better, money gets better, everyone benefits from a good rank system in Fortnite. Like you were talking about, like the viewership goes up, which means streamers make more money, which means they can do bigger things and make better content, and then more people watch that, and then more people are paying ranked. Like it is this domino effect that is super positive for everyone. So yes, ranked is a little bit shitty sometimes. I hate dying to the spears. I hate getting third partied. I hate no siphon, but I'm still playing it. I'm still having fun sometimes, and my viewership has been good. Like even just putting Unreal in my title has been great for me as a streamer.
Yeah,
like,
everybody's looking at Unreal right now.
Yeah, I mean, and really, like, especially the Unreal part, having a number to grind for, like saying I'm going for number 1 Unreal. Like Jack and I, we were up at like 4 a.m. because he was 7th and 6th through 1st were asleep, and we were trying so desperately for him to hit number 1, just so we could get the screenshot, so we could post it on Twitter, and then never really grind ranked, like. And that, so it is like, yes, there are details that they're going to work out, but especially for a beta, already seeing the effect that it's had on the player base and people wanting to grind stuff and hitting Unreal and all of these stuff, like that achievement of a rank is huge. It's going to be very good for the game. And really, like, people love to shit on competitive, but the direction of competitive since like the end of chapter 3 into chapter 4 has been up. Invitational was fantastic. The bringing chapter 4 early, I don't know if that was their plan or not. I didn't think that it was. But that was one of the best things they could have done for the game. Chapter 3 was getting bland. Everyone was hating the meta.
And announcing it at Invitational, even better.
Exactly.
Imagine Denmark too, bro. It's gonna be so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, really, because like I think it was like Boop that said this on Twitter, like Coach Boop. Like, this is World Cup with a different name, essentially. I mean, it's combining the FNCS format. It's taking that and it's giving us the closest thing that we're going to get to a World Cup ever again. Because they lost money on World Cup. I don't know how many people don't know this. Epic lost a shit ton of money on World Cup.
It was a very good investment, though, nonetheless.
Well, sure. I mean, yes, it was the biggest esports event to date. It had the biggest prize pool that we've ever seen. And yes, it was a phenomenon. Like, it was a world-changing phenomenon. And Fortnite during that time did change the world. I don't care what anyone says. It did. Like, it changed gaming. It changed the world. It changed so much.
I agree.
Yeah, but we're going to see that at Copenhagen. We're going to see the closest thing we've seen to a World Cup. And people are going to keep grinding. A new season's going to come out. The collabs are going to start coming out. Like, I think the direction of competitive is actually really, really good right now. I think, like, if this were a stock, if Fortnite competitive were a stock, I would say to buy now, because it's gonna rise, and I would live by that. Like, I don't know.
They're doing it's also being perfect that DreamHack is doing their 3
that
4
too.
month turn. Like, they are just adding
the
on.
Saudi Arabia thing too.
Because,
like,
Saudi is huge.
Oh my god, I forgot about Saudi. Oh
yeah,
my
it's all
god.
just adding up. Everything adds up.
Because they're not registered with Epic Games. They're not doing anything.
Well, it is going to be an
Epic
in-party tournament this time.
It is.
They just announced that. But
okay.
Yeah.
DreamHack finally got in ties with Fortnite.
I was gonna say because DreamHack, if they weren't affiliated, they're
Which is a
just
good thing because
helping.
server lag will be much better,
Yeah,
and it'll be
yeah,
an
yeah.
actual like sponsored
'Cause
tournament. But
I was gonna say they're just gonna boost the way competitive
yep,
works now. They're
yep,
just helping boost it,
yep.
like make it pushing it to
Well,
the rise, which means they have info on it.
and zero build is a great thing too. It's the same thing. It helps casual players get into competitive. You know, like zero build
Yeah.
ranked is a fantastic thing. I love the zero build tournaments. I cannot stand playing zero build pubs. I hate it. I hate it with every ounce of my being. Zero build ranked, I played it the other day. It was so fun. It was so much more enjoyable. It felt so much more like a tournament game because after every of those zero build cash cups, me and my team would be like, man, I wish I could just live that feeling all the time. Like it was more like playing OG Fortnite than anything I've experienced for a long time. Like I was like,
Very
oh
much so.
man, this is fun. And having something that doesn't require building, because we talked about it is the most complicated advanced mechanics that have ever existed in any shooter ever, like by far.
Very much so.
If you have never built and you want to get into this game, zero build is great for you. You could learn building, but it's going to take you months, years, like to get to the caliber that some of these players are at. Zero build, you can hop in. If you've ever played a COD, if you've ever played Apex, like you will at least be decent. And that's a great feeling. You can win a game, get that same adrenaline rush of winning like a battle royale game in Fortnite with some of your favorite characters. Like the IP is important. The intellectual properties that they've acquired are important. Like, yeah, I want to win a game as Spider-Man 2099. I want to win a game as Master Chief. Like, yeah, of course. Like that, they've gone a little overboard, but like that's part of their money-making strategy. That's how they're trying to get new players in. And at the end of the day, even if they're playing zero build, even if they hate competitive, more players playing the game is always a good thing.
Always a good thing.
It is never a bad thing.
Cooper, are you gonna be at Dallas?
Yes.
DreamHack Dallas?
I live right by it, man.
Are
I
you
mean,
still
perfect.
competing with Origin?
No.
You dropped Origin. Okay.
I don't know who I'm playing with, man. I fucked up pretty badly.
Somerset's looking for a duo. Just, you know.
Oh, that's all I needed to hear.
There's some
brother. I'm
biz right
shooting a
there.
DM right
Yeah,
now.
there you go. No, but you know, so that but yeah, DreamHack is going to be a great event, and Dallas especially. I mean, really, I'm going. I don't
Everyone's
care.
going to Dallas.
I don't care about the tournament. The
Yeah,
names
same.
that
I
are
don't
going to
give
be
a
there,
fuck. I just
the
wanna be
names,
there, bro.
the networking that's going to happen, the biz that's going to be happening from every single person there is going to be insane. And honestly, like the LAN environment, like it breaks so many of those online barriers. It like you don't get egoed like a Twitter DM because everyone wants to talk to everyone that's there. You made the trip out, like, and it's not even like, oh, I can't avoid this person. It's like you genuinely just feel like you don't have as much of an ego when you're at a LAN. It's like, oh yeah, like I'll talk to you. Like you made the trip all the way out here. I might
it's
as
hard
well.
To, like ignore people, bro.
Yeah.
In Atlanta,
Very much so. Very much.
in Atlanta, I was like a random, but like people were still talking to me, and it was such an amazing feeling. Like people were coming up to me, being like, "Yo, Cooper," I'm like, "Wow, like that felt really fucking good."
Dude, I talked to Bronos and Fox at Invitational and then DreamHack, and like that was just like and Rip Rara and like so many other names that I never ever would have gotten into a room with or a Discord call with or anything like that online because it's so easy to keep people at a distance online. When you're in person, it's just like, oh yeah, like you're just
in the same room. Like
it humbles you. Like, you know, all of the followers don't matter. Like you are just a human being standing next to me. And honestly, that realization is super helpful if you're in this industry. Like all those people you look up to, they're just people. Yes, they're cool people, and yeah, like they built a brand for themselves or they built a career, but they're a human being, same as you at the end of the day. Don't idolize them. Don't make them out to be something they're not. They're just a normal person, and if you treat them like that, honestly, you'll get a lot farther than you would have otherwise. But I don't know, like, but talking about that, like the business going to be happening, like the people I'm going to be talking to, the connections I'm going to be trying to make happen, like it's just it's going to bring the whole community tighter. It brings the content community tighter. It brings the competitive community tighter. Like
very much so.
It will. I mean, collabs will start happening that people never would have thought happened. Friendships are going to be made that you wouldn't have thought are going to be made. Like it, and that's always a good thing. I mean, I think there's this kind of myth in this industry that it's like everyone against everyone, and it's like no, like for me with content, I'm like if I fuck with your platform, like if I think that you're a good person, I'm going to do everything I can to help you because if I don't succeed, I want you to. Like it's more about those things succeeding at the end of the day, those values and that platform succeeding than it is in any individual for me.
Very
Competitive
much so.
the same way. Like if I believe in you as a good person and I want you to succeed, I'm going to help you in any way that I can. And like that kind of networking and that mentality is going to go much farther. And then everyone's making better content and everyone's making a career and like
come back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, Dallas is super exciting. It's only a couple weeks away.
Yeah, man. 2 weeks, if not,
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
Not
10
even.
days.
Yeah.
You going?
10 days, bro.
Are y'all
Me?
going?
I am.
Jatmon will be. I will not be attending.
Vishal couldn't,
Unfortunately.
but
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why
I
Um,
not?
know.
we're gonna try and get him at TwitchCon or
Uh,
the next Dream Hack or
just
something. We'll get you to something, Vishal. Don't worry. But
yeah. No. I'll come to the following DreamHack whenever
yeah.
that is. I'll make it out there.
Last Atlanta was in November, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, there'll probably be another one like in that around that time.
I think there will be
this
something
year.
during hopefully like September, October. Hopefully,
Yeah,
at least.
I would assume so.
I'll
Yeah,
make it out. I'll make
because
it out.
summer is in Sweden, or did that already happen?
Yeah.
Sweden's
Sweet.
still happening.
Okay.
I've gotten everything that I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I wanted to talk about. I don't know how much experience you have with this particular, but gambling, like gambling in the Fortnite scene, is a very real thing. Like I mentioned this earlier, and I remember I've seen so many like tweets about it recently. Like, okay, one, do you gamble, or like do any pros that you know gamble?
Everybody I know is gamble. Everyone I
Yikes.
know gambles. Sorry, worded that wrong. I don't. I've stayed away from it, but that's a lie. I have.
Good. Very good.
So I have friends that gamble, and I've
well-
hey, I pitched in
well-
$20 one time, and I lost it, and I'm not gonna lie, I want to do it again, and it happens. It's definitely very interesting, especially because you see all these other like people on Twitter like max win. I just made fucking 10 grand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, that took millions of reps. Like, it took them ages to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
there. But like, you see that and
Yeah.
you're like, wow, I could be in that position. And you just don't want to stop. And once you lose, it's like you're stuck. But Mero is a
Dude,
fucking gambler.
Dude, I literally saw Mero tweet about it today. I saw Mero tweet like
that's
he
part of
don't
why I
gamble,
wanted to bring
bro.
it
No,
up.
but
Yeah.
but Mero's up. I think just I don't know if I'll say it. He's up around 80K gambling all around. But he goes in about 2 to 5K every session, and it loses it. Like he will lose it 9 times out of 10.
But see, that's the thing. He has enough of an income to make
Right.
that like a profitable thing. Like
It's fucking pocket change, bro. If I put in that money, I'm squeezing my ass while I'm looking at my screen.
Yeah. Well, that's what most people do. Most gambling addicts just like.
They just sit there emotionless, just watching.
They gamble with money they do not have. They cannot lose. I mean, the thing with gambling, if you're going to do it, it's very similar to drinking in my opinion. Like drinking is like, okay, if you can afford that drink,
Balance
and if you can
and manage it, yeah.
right, if you can do it in moderation, great. But the thing with gambling is like, you need to treat that money as if it's already lost, because if you think as if there's any chance you're going to get it back when you put it in, that's the addiction. That's the thing that's going to keep you going over and over and over again. If you just treat that money like it's already lost when you put it in, and you're still okay losing that money every single time you put in, go ahead, keep gambling. And that's where like ultra rich people, yeah, they're putting in 10K. If they have a multi-million-dollar bank account, that's fine.
It, you know, it's just like for
right.
fun.
So it's like like their 10K is your 500 or your 10, or you know, it's like so
right.
it's like, yeah, the winnings aren't going to be as much, but you got to think about the ratio of like, this is my net worth to this is what I'm gambling. You know, like you take a Mero, yeah, he's made a shit ton of money. Like that money is pocket change for him, exactly. Like, you know, but you take you know, you have. Not you, but like, you know, the viewer, the audience, whatever. If you have $300 in your bank account, gambling $3 is 10%.
Oh no, that's 100% for me.
Like you can't do that shit. Like you know, you can't do that shit over and over and over again. Like you need to be willing to basically say this money's already gone. Think of it as a payment, and then you might get something back. Don't think of it as, you know, oh, I'm gambling, because if you think about it like that, you're always going to be stuck in that. That's exactly how they get you. But
have y'all gambled?
No.
Really?
No. I'm
fucking applauds to y'all for that, bro. One thing that I'm very bad at is flipping coins, and this is ironic as fuck. I put a lot of money on coin flipping.
Wow.
Is that gambling?
That's crazy.
That's gambling?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's based on odds that you can't know ahead of time.
I'm done with it, bro. I'm done with it. I think the thing about gambling, it's better to just go 50-50 than like.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, that's why, like, if you're gonna, for example, in Vegas, go play blackjack. Because at blackjack, there's actually some, like, you know, like the prize pool will be less, but you're more likely to make a profit. The odds are so much more in your favor.
Bigger, yeah, 100%.
Like, and that, you know,
you have your own, like, you have
control. You have some control over the odds. That's the thing. Most gambling, you have absolutely zero control, and that's why, you know, it's like, yes, the payout is 100 1,000 times what you're putting in, but you have like a 0.0001% of hitting that. Like, those aren't odds I want to play with, but that's where most people get stuck, is they're not intelligent enough to understand or care.
I don't think I'll ever gamble during this decade.
TwitchCon's in Vegas, so I feel like I might make a video or something losing $100, but yeah, I'm not gonna do anything where I'm like putting myself at financial risk. Going in. But
I said the same shit y'all are right now, man. The first $20 is a big one, bro. I'm so serious.
This guy's gonna be up at 3 a.m. going crazy.
We're gonna get another CEO Jake situation. Oh no.
Hey, chill, bro. I'm speaking from experience. That first $20 is like an eye opener, and it's hard to get away from.
It's the same psychologically as drugs. I mean, addiction is the same as like a drug is. You take that first hit of whatever, or you take that first drink of alcohol. That's the thing. That's the kicker. Like. It's I don't even remember the number, but there are some crazy statistics. It's like as soon as you touch your first sip of alcohol, you're X% more likely to be an addict, and it's like a crazy percentage. It's like it is significantly lower for everything that's addictive if you just never touch it. It's not like 5 times in. It's not. It's like if that 0 to 1 difference makes literally the entire world of difference, whether you will be an addict or whether you won't. And that, but I've seen it, and I think this is something that kind of ties into what I've talked about a lot with. I think that there's a lot of bad role modeling going on in the Fort scene specifically because the people who are getting these platforms are so young. I mean, Mero's what, 17, 18, like
19.
Yeah, like
I don't know, but he's up there.
He doesn't know shit about life. Like, and that's not like a diss on him. He's 18 years old. Like, you're not supposed to have shit figured out. But when you're being put in front of hundreds of thousands of eyes, and people are seeing all of that, like when people are seeing your tweets about going down X amount in gambling, that has an effect on all the people that see that. And you think about the people that are watching you are even younger and know even less about life. What their understanding when they see that type of stuff is this is how life should be lived. Like, when you're in that much of an influencer position and you're doing shit, whether you want to or not, and that's the real kicker, whether you want to or not, you're modeling this is how life should be lived to kids. And that's where I get to is I think that people need to take that responsibility more seriously, like with the gambling, for example, we saw stuff like the CEO Jake situation, and we saw the damage that did to people and the damage that did to the community. And like, I think that there are streamers out there that make jokes about it or whatever, or they're pros that make jokes about it, but it's like that had a real impact on people's lives at the end of the day. And like that, I think I think people need to take that responsibility more seriously. And I think that starts at the pro level, the streamer level, where it's like, yeah, be careful what you're posting, be careful what you're saying, because you may see it as a joke. You take the Bucky in Somerset situation where Bucky was like basically harassing, and saying stuff that was obviously a joke. It was obviously for content, like whatnot, but that's not obvious. That's not obvious to a 15 to 13-year-old. That's not obvious to the 313 that are watching Bucky every day. And I'm sorry, most of those people are insufferable. I hate when those kids.
I'm so with you, bro.
Like the 313 is something else, bro.
Dude,
I've seen their tweet. Like the Twitter community, like where you can
or
scroll through that tweet for an hour and try not to have a fucking mental breakdown, and I will personally give you like my life insurance. I'm so serious.
Dude, so I mean, I just like. Obviously, I know where Bucky's coming from. He's just trying to make content. He's just trying to make funny, like whatever. Like, do I think that that's good content? No, but I understand where he's coming from. It's his career. But what he's communicating to the kids that are watching him is this is how you should act towards people. This is how you should deal with these situations. It's okay to say these things and do these things and whatnot. And that's where I start having issue. So, I mean, a lesson to everyone out there, like, if you have a platform, make sure you're making good use of it. Don't be careful with what you're encouraging people and kids to do, because there's something called a parasocial relationship, which is like the people that are watching you believe that they're a lot closer to you than they are, and they really do think of you as like a friend or a mentor or a father figure or whatever you are to them. And I think you need to take that responsibility seriously, and I think a lot of people do as well.
Very much so.
That was a bit of a more somber note, but Cooper, we end every podcast with one question, and that is, if you were to give one piece of advice to all the viewers out there, It could be Fortnite related. It could be life related. What would it be?
Wait. Before we ask that, we forgot to ask. What are your plans for
Oh yeah.
and content?
I plan to make the best of what I can with my age. I'm in a I'm in an age where I have a lot to work with and I have time.
Very
and I
much
have time
so.
to think.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best with content creation. I'm going to branch out and make good connections. I'm going to do the best I can competitively. And I don't have a guaranteed plan, and I'm just going to see where everything takes me. But I do think.
Do you have any org plans? Are you? I mean, you don't have to speak on it if you don't want to.
All
Are you
right.
planning to play with PL? Are you planning to? Have you gotten other offers? You know, things of that nature.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten other offers, and I've gotten great offers. But the thing about Pipeline is that Avaft, the owner, he invested. You know, he paid me over $1,000 to fund my PC in the middle of FNCS, and it was a huge investment. I mean, obviously, that's a lot of money for
the PC that you ended up winning on.
Yes.
Or getting second on? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he got it for me the day, he paid me like after week 1, and that's when I started having big problems. And he paid, I mean, that was a third of my PC. He covered it. It was like a $3,000 PC. It's right here. I mean, it was a big investment, and I appreciate him. I appreciate that that more than money. Like, cause I could join orgs right now for upwards of 1.5 a month, and I'm not gonna take that because I think morally, I think Avaft and this whole organization means a lot more to me than, you know, joining some bigger org that's just gonna give me like money. Like I don't want to be on an org just playing competitive for money, because I think that kind of ruins the whole point of it.
Yeah.
I like teams. I like teams that I've always liked teams that help me branch into content and help me advance as a person and a creator myself, in comparison to, let's say, I don't want to throw like a shot in any org, but let's say like, I don't know how to put it. Like teams like, I don't like, you know, like Desert or something like that just sign players for like a shit ton of money, and they don't do fucking shit. They're just throwing away money, and they're gonna that org's gonna shut down in 3 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like I like PL because they're helping me out with everything. Sorry,
They're doing everything. They're doing.
I just talk so much for that one question.
Honestly, we appreciate that you said that. Like genuinely, like not just because of like org stats, it's literally as a person.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the same boat. I think if you chase the money, it just has less.
It'll come back to your ass. It'll come back.
Yeah, it has less benefits in the long run. I mean, and you know, you talk about, because for me, I see potential too. And you look at like a PL. I mean, there's so much potential there, and being on the org, even just for the past like month or two, like knowing the people that are behind the scenes and all of that, you know, like they're great people and they care about this, and I go where the passion is. The passion in the industry. Exactly. Some of these orgs, like they just throw money at shit. Like
passion's a good word.
But it's like you can tell who has a passion for this industry and the people in it, and you can tell who doesn't. And that's like, I chase the passion, man. Like, because those people are gonna get farther in this industry in 5 to 10 years. Sure, there may be instant money now, but like, you know, when you're talking about like building an actual brand, career, all of that stuff. That passion is going to be what carries people, because as soon as the money's gone, all of these people are going to, you know, the people that are only about money are going to be gone too, and all the orgs that are just about money are going to be gone too, and that, you know, so that's exactly, it's like it just chase that passion, chase those people like that are doing this because they want to be, because they care about this industry and the people in it and the game. Don't just chase the money. And you know, it's like, yeah, you may be making less than you want to. You may have to work a job. I mean, you know, it's like there are people like even Fox and Bronos who are like friends of mine now. Like, you know, they were working at Target, like, you know, the season after the arena race, like for some time, because they weren't making enough money because, well, one, because they had stopped streaming as much, but like they were doing that, but they were still doing their streaming and content because they're passionate about it. And like, that's where you need to be at the end of the day. And I think that's just a better life philosophy. Do what you love, worry about all the other stuff, you know,
as it comes along,
make it happen. Like if you're just chasing the money and the means, but you're not fulfilled or you're not living your life purpose, what's the point? You know, and that's where I get to. But anyway, like, so just that last piece of advice, you know, that you want to give, whatever that is.
I think you pretty much just said it. I think you need to choose a goal and chase it, and stay very focused and determined to chase. I mean, this is so basic, but I think the phrase "chasing your dreams" isn't really looked at as it should be. I think it's a very important phrase.
I agree wholly.
I think it kind of goes on as like, all right, chase your dreams. People just think nothing much of it.
Yeah, it's become a cliche for sure.
Right. You
Yeah.
really should. It's an
Yeah.
amazing thing. I mean, I only got second in grants. This isn't the end, but I mean, kid you not, years ago, bro, like I wanted to do this. This is all I've wanted to do. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to become big in
Yeah.
content, in this game, and I put my all into it. I mean, I've sacrificed many things. I've put in hours. I mean, I've played 8 hours a day, almost every day for months on end. I'm not gonna lie to any of y'all.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm chasing it, and this is what I'm passionate about. And I'm gonna. I think I can make it big. I think I can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think if I had one thing to say, it's to genuinely chase your dreams and not overlook that phrase.
No, I would agree 100%. It's there are a lot of things that have become a cliche because they were said by smart people and they're so true, but people didn't understand it or really intake it. I mean, chase your dreams. Communication is key. That's another one. Like anytime I give any type of relationship advice or friendship advice, like anytime I give advice at all, it's like communicate. Like tell the person what you're saying to me right now and see where that goes. Like that's another one. But I chase your dreams. Like, yeah, you will feel more fulfilled even if you're failing at it. If you like just keep going and don't like streaming content, like content creation, if you're doing YouTube streaming, competing, whatever, don't let that obstacle defy you from doing what you feel like you're supposed to do. If you have that goal, if you have that thing in mind, this is the life I want to build for myself with this thing in mind, do that. And don't let anyone or anything stop you. You can figure out the money. You can figure out the housing. I mean, people are moving out to Dallas with like $0 in their pocket to try and make this whole Fortnite or streaming thing work. Because or they're like, they don't know where their income's going to be for the next month, but they're doing it because they believe in it. And a lot of these creators, we talked about this with Fox too, they are using their last dime, but they don't care because they're like, I'll make it work. I have to, because this is what I want to do. And I would agree wholeheartedly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another installment of the Ghost Comms podcast. This was PL Cooper, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace.
Bye, everybody.